Hey GW fans, and welcome to the first ever episode of Raise High at GW. We're here today at Tonic at Quigley's. We're getting excited for one of these new bi-weekly shows for GW Athletics. We're going to have an all-encompassing experience in terms of looking into what exactly is going on here at GW Athletics. My name's Kevin Burke, and of course this guy needs no introduction. Head men's basketball coach Jamion. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited for this opportunity.
Yeah, we're excited. We're going to be doing this every other week throughout the basketball season. We're going to have some other stuff outside of men's basketball coming up later today. We'll have head women's basketball coach Jennifer Rizzotti joining the program. But let's start with you. The season's almost here. Take us inside your program and what you're thinking right now.
Yeah, well, we're just so excited to have the opportunity to play basketball. It's been a long time since we've been able to step onto the court and have a chance to compete against someone else. So we're juiced about that opportunity. We love our group. We love what we've been able to do over the last 6 months and how our roster's been able to change, and we're excited to show the world it.
I want to start with focusing here in the world's most powerful city and with the guy that's going to be joining your program moving forward, because this is an emphasis for you to recruit some DMV guys, and you got another one in Breon Freeman joining your program.
Yeah, we love Breon Freeman. He was a guy that I got a chance to start getting to know when he was a freshman in high school, and he's just a guy that has a great tenacity for the game and loves to prove himself against the very best. And we're a program that loves having guys with great ambition, and Breon Freeman has exactly that. We're happy he's keeping his skills right here in the DMV, and we're excited to give that basketball to him for the next 4 years.
You're a DMV guy, born and raised. Do you have a all-time DMV recruits you'd like to coach as starting five?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, growing up outside of Richmond, Virginia, near the Tidewater area, I think everything really starts there with like a guy named like Allen Iverson, right? And so when you talk about Virginia basketball, Allen Iverson's a guy that jumps off the page. Secondly, you go to Adrian Dantley, born right here in DC, and one of the best players ever to play, one of the best scorers, a guy that we all love to watch play. So I think I'd start with those two all-time greats, and then obviously if I need to round it off, I'd start with Kevin Durant, and a guy who's again right here, Montrose Christian graduate, and a guy that can score it at the highest levels.
What's it like as a coach in the DMV to try to recruit this fertile area and trying to get DMV kids to stay home?
Well, it's always a challenge because, when you look at the best programs in the country, they're powered with the DMV players. And so it's a challenge to keep your guys close to home. And, what we get a chance to do here at GW is we get a chance to give them an environment that's so unique and so different in the sense of what you get academically and what you get being right here in the most powerful city in the world. And, how we, in our style of play, our ability to play up and down and play up tempo and have a lot of fun doing it. It's just a unique situation for everyone. And we're just trying to put it out there and allow those guys to come in and have a great experience.
That leads me into talking about Mayhem, because last year you've said you didn't necessarily get to play Mayhem as much as you like, but now you have the team that you think can play Mayhem. So define for our fans and for those viewers out there, what is Mayhem to you? Yeah,
Mayhem is all about getting our opponents to play at a pace that they're uncomfortable with, but where we feel great at. And I think that's where great basketball always starts with. If you're looking at numbers-wise, we want to try to get our opponents to turn it over 20% of the time. That gives us a chance to really play in transition and to play with great depth. And then offensively, you want to take about 50% of our shots from three. And I think when you're able to do that, you're forcing the tempo to your opponents at a level where they're so uncomfortable that you're dictating pace every single game. And we have a roster to do it this year. We're excited to showcase it.
Can you tell in the course of a game whether or not the game is playing to that Mayhem style? Like, can you tell when you're on the sideline?
Well, I think when you're talking about Mayhem, it's one of those things where it's going to happen over a duration of time. And a lot of times you get your opponents to the last 8 minutes of the half or the last 8 minutes of the game, and it's all going to open up at once. And so it's really about a style of play where you just have to be so disciplined and so connected as a group and make sure you're doing the right thing every time down the floor. And then when it opens really quickly, and you got to be ready to jump on your opponent and not let them out.
So quick is a good summary for those that are you're not going to keep track of 20% of possessions for turnovers, but quick and trying to play more up-tempo than you saw from previous years.
Yeah, what we're watching for is just, where teams are inbounding the basketball to, what they're getting it over in the half-court time in, and those kind of things become really important. Again, you're trying to get a possession here or there, and you get 20% of the turnovers. It's really going to be between 14 to 16 turnovers a game, depending on the pace. And so if you're able to get them to that number of turnovers, that many possessions, it's going to give you a great opportunity to score easily in transition.
All right, I want to transition. We're going to go into a little rapid fire segment here to introduce folks to some of the guys that that are coming back onto the team, but also to some new guys on the team. So I'm going to give you some words, and you give me a rapid fire answer. That work?
I got it.
Okay. Let's start with Maceo Jack.
Explosive scorer.
Okay. Jamison Battle.
Improved so much over the summer.
Jameer Nelson Jr.
explosive at the rim.
We saw that a couple times last year, I think, right? How about Chase Parr?
Big, physical, and tough.
Sloan Seymour, that's a guy that is new to the program, but not new to you.
He takes a lot of threes and does not miss a lot of threes.
We saw that in the Buff and Blue scrimmage a couple weeks ago, where he was finding the NBA range and longer than that, right?
All the time, and every opportunity he gets.
Another transfer, Hunter Dean.
Very athletic.
And then, in summary, how about your first years?
Well, Tyler Brailsford is a guy that can score the ball in a lot of different ways. So he's definitely a three-level scorer. Lincoln Ball, tough as nails, skilled player. And Noel Brown, he's as big as any billboard we're ever going to see here and has the biggest heart of anyone. So, he's got a great collection of skills. We're really excited to coach him.
Is there a team you've been more excited about?
No, honestly, when you get to year number 2, you don't know how soon your roster can change over to have the opportunity to play the way you want to play. It's usually more of a transitional period. So one of the things we're so excited about is that we have a group where we feel like we can really go out there and play the way we want to play with guys that fit our style of play. The way we recruit is different, and the way we recruit is really detail driven on every position. So it can be hard to find the perfect fits for that, but we feel like we've got a great mix of guys and a great mix of talent.
And we haven't even talked about a couple of Power 5 transfers that are joining your program this year. James Bishop from LSU, another DMV guy for you, and Matthew Moyer, who was at Vanderbilt and previously at Syracuse. You know what? We're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about Matt Moyer and James Bishop when we come back here on Raise High at GW.
When you get the diagnosis of cancer, you don't know how you're going to handle it. You really don't know what's coming down the road for you. I was diagnosed with stage 4 oral cancer. The doctors at GW Hospital were fantastic. They were willing to advocate for an alternative treatment that had better outcomes for me, better life over a longer term with fewer side effects. I want to say thank you for getting me through cancer treatment and back to living my life.
From routine care to life-saving emergencies, we're here for you, the George Washington University Hospital.
If I can shoot with a mask, you can wear a mask.
If I can vault with a mask, you can wear a mask.
If I can sail in a mask, you can wear a mask.
If I could dunk with a mask, you could wear a mask.
If I can do this in a mask, you can wear a mask.
For our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, our healthcare workers, our essential workers, and more. Because we know that wearing a mask saves lives. So wear a mask and raise high.
With the great technology at GW Hospital and the great doctors, I am now cancer-free. I was able to see where my mass was with the help of virtual reality technology. The doctor came in saying he removed it all. I feel wonderful. GW Hospital is the best. They truly take care of you.
From routine care to life-saving emergencies, we're here for you, the George Washington University Hospital.
Welcome back to Raise High at GW. I'm Kevin Burke, and all season long here in the 2020-21 season, we're going to be giving you insight, analysis, the who's who and the what's what of George Washington athletics and George Washington basketball. New to the men's basketball team this season, a pair of Power 5 conference transfers that are coming in to make an impression here in Foggy Bottom.
GW can expect scoring, playmaking, and leadership, and a player that plays both ends of the floor.
GW fans can definitely expect to see a lot of versatility, a lot of energy, scoring at all different types of levels, and bringing defensive tenacity all the time. I think my fit, what Coach Christian's trying to do with Mayhem, and just trying to bring a lot of energy and life to this program. Oh my gosh, I got my first dunk in the 8th grade. It was at an open gym, actually at my high school's open gym, and dunked it for the first time. And I remember I was just smiling ear to ear and really excited about it.
If I could play a college sport other than basketball, I would play football. Probably wide receiver. I really got hands. So.
Come on, Jameson, come on, Jameson.
I would definitely say my project management class. I'm getting my master's in management with a certification in project management, so I found a lot of interest in my project management class, learning how to manage people and learning how to use Excel and a lot of other stuff, so I've been enjoying that.
Probably my intro to sociology class. I just liked what we learned in there. Some of the topics that we learned about I really like.
Playing the world's most powerful city definitely means so much to me. Just being here present during the election and being a few blocks from the White House and the monuments, the Lincoln Memorial, is something that you can definitely take for granted and something that's just incredible.
There's a lot of connections to be made. It's a lot of people watching, so you really want to work hard and perform well because you're playing in one of the most powerful cities in the world. So I chose GW because I love what they're building here. I love what Coach Christian and the staff have going, and just my brothers on the team. I wouldn't choose anybody over them. So
I chose GW because of Coach Christian. The Coach Christian effect, definitely. I think Coach Christian's the best coach in America, and his plan and his vision for the future of this program is just special.
Two impressive guys we're excited to have here in the Buff and Blue. Coach, let's talk about first Matt Moyer, a grad transfer from Vanderbilt, what he brings to your team on the floor and also off the court in experience.
Well, Matt was a captain at Vanderbilt a year ago, so we needed to add some leadership to our locker room. Obviously we feel great about the depth of our team and the youth of our team, but we wanted to be realistic with ourselves. We wanted to add a great leader, and Matt's been exactly that. Again, a captain, a guy who graduated quickly in college, and just an exceptional person, and got some great life experience with him. So we wanted to add that. And then on the floor, his versatility is really exceptional. 7'4" reach at 6'8.5", a guy that can handle the basketball, make outside shots, and put it on the floor. It's really hard to find those kind of guys, and we're really fortunate to have Matt with us. We're excited about using his whole collection of skills in so many different ways.
How about James Bishop? Because that's another local guy that comes back from LSU, and he's another ball handler, so that's great for your team to add another one of those.
Yeah, we obviously had the loss of Armel Potter a year ago, who had a tremendous year for us within our system, and adding a guy like James Bishop is huge. A guy that can score it, a reputation as a scorer at Mount St. Joe's High School, a great high school in Baltimore. A guy that can score at a crazy level. So we're happy for that. And he's a guy that's really a great passer in his basketball IQ. So he naturally fits into our system, and it allows us to play him and Jamion on and off the ball. It gives us a level of versatility within the flow of our game that's really going to be unique. We ball screen more than any team in the country, and there's 60 to 65 ball screens a night. And so his ability to come off of there as a scoring threat and a passer really changed the dynamic of our team. And when you talk about guys like we talk about like Jamison Battle and Sloan Seymour and Maceo Jack, who can shoot the ball, when you put a ball handler out there that can score it at all three levels and assist it, it just changes the dynamic of our team offensively.
Safe to say we'll expect some alley-oops with some new height that you guys have as well. You mentioned Hunter. These guys can jump out of the gym. So how are you going to utilize that height this season? Because that's not something that was on the court last year. Yeah, our teams I've coached in the past, statistically, we're always really big. I love size. I think that's really important for a team to be good defensively. I think it allows you to rebound the ball defensively. I think it allows you to have a great defensive three-point percentage. So we love size in our recruiting, and that's a major part of what we're always constantly looking for. And so when we have that, that changes how we can play. You're looking at lineups where Jamison Battle can play at 6'8" at the 2-guard spot. Not many teams in our league are going to be able to do that. Sloan Seymour is just a hint under 6'10" as a guy who made 94 threes as a freshman for us at Siena. So his ability to shoot over smaller defenders is going to become really important for us. And then you talk about like Noel Brown, Ace Stallings, who's also returning, Chase Parr as well, and then Hunter Dean. You're looking at guys that are all well above 6'10" or 6'11", that have an ability to get up and down the floor and move the basketball around. Again, we love our collection of guys that we have. We love the physicality that they bring to us, and we think when we put it out there on the floor together, it might take some time for it all to work exactly the way they want it to, but I think it's a great collection. I think it's safe to say you've really embraced analytics in terms of how you coach. Where did that come from, and how are you using that going into a specific game? Yeah,
my first job out of college, I was an assistant coach at Emory and Henry College, and I was working for a guy named Bob Johnson, who really is one of the best coaches I've ever had a chance to be around. And guys like Nathan Davis, John Kaufman, Jimmy Allen, Mike Young, are all guys that are D1 head coaches now that all started out at this small school in southwestern Virginia. And I'm happy to be a part of that fraternity. And, you know, we're going against great teams in the ODAC. You know, Mike Rhodes was actually the head coach at Randolph-Macon at the time. And, you know, there's just some great coaches in that league. And we just weren't able to get the level of talent that we needed to win the league. And so we kind of had a meeting and we said, how can we skew the numbers in a way that gives us a chance to win the game? And so we went to a philosophy, we called it the Emory and Henry running attack, where we basically said we're going to shoot the ball every 11 seconds and we're going to make our opponents shoot the ball every 11 seconds. So the embracing of analytics really came out of necessity. And the team that we ended up having, you know, we ended up having a successful year my second year, and then that third year they ended up beating teams that are top 5 in the country, and it really took off. So, you know, we've just kind of wanted to apply the analytics to every facet of our program over the last few years, and it's really given us a leg up.
Quickly, we'd be remiss if we weren't able to talk about the challenges that COVID-19 is presenting. It's definitely been a challenge for your team, I'm sure, in the off season. How have you seen your guys adjusting to the situation in anticipation of the year getting started? You
know, our guys have a high level of appreciation, first of all, for everyone working in the medical field, everyone making these really tough decisions. You know, so many times where there's no right answer. You know, where we're all trying to figure it out. We're all watching the news or watching Twitter, trying to figure out what we can do better. And our guys understand that and they appreciate that. And so it's affected them in the regard that, you know, obviously we've gone way more Zoom like everyone else has, but we've really valued our time together, and our connection has really been able to grow because our time together in a space as a team is so limited that we've really had to find ways to continue to embrace that, and they've done an amazing job of that.
Well, hopefully it'll be a return to normal soon enough with the season on the horizon. Coach, we are excited for this show. We're excited to see your team on the floor. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
This has been Race High at GW. Coming up next, we have head women's basketball coach Jennifer Rizzotti joining us. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Race High at GW. Thanks to head men's basketball coach Jamion Christian for joining us. We're now joined by women's basketball head coach Jennifer Rizzotti. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Let's get to know your team a little bit better. There are a lot of new faces, much like the men's program and your program. So talk a little bit about the new faces in your program.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can kind of start at the top with our fifth-year senior point guard, Jasmine Whitney. We were really excited to get her midway through the year last year as a grad transfer from Pitt. A kid who started three years in the ACC and had over 100 assists a year. So it shores up our ball handling spot, both on the offensive and defensive end, which we're really excited about. We get Neela back, so I know she's not a new face, but she definitely was out last year, and it's severely impacted our program. And then we've got a transfer in Gabby Nikitinaite. We're hoping to get her eligible this year, but we'll see. And she's added some really nice European flair to our style of play. Just a big guard that has scored over 750 points already in her college career at Northern Illinois. And then our freshmen, our 4-person freshman class that has certainly had a freshman year unlike any other. And they've all adjusted really well. We got some size in the front court with Allie Brigham and Coranda Perea at both 6'2" and 6'5", so we're excited about not just their size, but their skill set for their size. And then our guard position shored up by Aria Gingras, who's a local kid, played in the area for the last 4 years in high school, and Piper Mackey from Kentucky. So we're just really excited with the spirit that they brought to practice every day, and the competitiveness and confidence. I think that's something our team has needed, and our freshman class definitely brings that.
And I found it really unique that two of the folks you mentioned in Jasmine and Neela, in addition to sophomore Faith Blethen, are your captains this season. So you have 3 people that have, you know, taken over the leadership reins that don't necessarily have a ton of experience in the program outside of Neela.
Yeah, you know, every year I think a coach wants to know if there's a leadership void and how do you fill it. And we had a big void, not just last year, but even at the end of the year. And I really challenged the team to take responsibility for leadership qualities, all of them. So we spent a lot of time talking about leadership and what it meant to our program, and we made it very non-basketball specific. We made it about how we're going to take care of each other off the floor, how we're going to treat each other, how we're going to be good teammates, and we kept that theme going the whole entire summer. And those 3 guys just emerged. I mean, Jasmine really wants this to be a great senior season for her, and she's been a point guard and a leader for 3 years, and she wanted to take responsibility and has been really, really vocal and involved. Faith is just really impressive as a sophomore. She just really understands what it means to be a great teammate. And then obviously Neela, she's our most experienced player. She is a great teammate. She's compassionate. She leads by example. So I feel like we covered all our bases with the 3 of them. And the nice thing is that the cupboards aren't bare. I mean, the leadership pipeline is really strong because we have a lot of other guys that have been stepping up.
This was truly an off-season unlike any other in the fact that you were able to still stay in touch but not physically be around. But it seems to have been a benefit because not only, like you said, with the captaincy, but also some advocacy things that your team is working on for this season.
Yeah, you know, we talked a lot in the spring as a department that we wanted to come out better on the other side of this. And I think the leadership from our athletic department was really strong. I heard messages from other coaches, especially the spring sport coaches who had their seasons canceled, that they were going to find a way to be better after COVID. So we took advantage of that. A lot of Zoom calls, which isn't always easy, but we did a lot of work on our culture. We did a lot of work on leadership, as I said. And then when June hit, we spent a lot of time talking as a team about how we could impact our lives, our families' lives, our community, and be better about paying attention to the social justice issues that are going on in our country. So even though we didn't have basketball, it really did allow for us to have a lot more time talking about things that were bigger than basketball and more important than basketball. And I think that connected us in a way that we probably wouldn't have had otherwise. So even though it was hard to be away and it was hard to not be able to get in the gym and work out our frustrations, it allowed our team to spend a lot of time thinking about what they wanted this year to look like, both on the court and off the court. And we've really carried that over, and we've seen that transfer and translate immediately onto the basketball floor. And that's really impressive for me as a coach to see the way that the team has embraced each other, embraced standing for things that are more than about themselves, about keeping basketball in perspective as the world is on fire right now. And I'm really proud of the maturity that they've shown and the appreciation. I know Jamion mentioned gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity that they're given to be here at GW, to compete in the sport that they love. And even with the sacrifices that they've had to make, they understand like how they've been treated here and how they're really fortunate to be a basketball player at George Washington.
You've been around the game for a while. Have you had a team embrace off the court or social activism like this?
No, and maybe part of that is on me. You know, maybe it wasn't something that came down from the top, from the coaches. It was always left up to them. It was always supported. But our coaching staff met and decided that this had to come from the top, that we were going to be able to use this time to provide a platform for our student athletes, to challenge them to think about issues that they're important to them, and to be able to participate in activism, even if it had to be because of COVID, even if it had to be through Zoom or through volunteer opportunities that wasn't in person, and more importantly through education. I think it was important for us to get them to understand that we're not going to be another generation of basketball players that's not educated in these areas that's really going to make a difference in the world, whether it's politics and how to early vote, whether it's bringing in a police chief to talk about the other side of police brutality. It could be writing to kids in underprivileged schools. We were going to make sure we took an advantage to have a part in a say in what happens in our future.
And quickly, I just want to transition into what we're going to see on the court this season. Yeah. Neela was named All-Conference preseason. It's been a while since we've seen her on the floor. So what is she going to be able to bring, and what are you looking for from her?
Well, obviously leadership and experience. She's always been one of our best players on both ends of the floor, somebody who's capable of scoring in double figures, but also being our best defender. So we love that versatility in her. But I think she's surrounded by more than she was as a sophomore. When you put her on the floor with Jasmine and Sydney and Maddie, and you have guys that are experienced at the guard spot, and then you look at Faith and Essence and Maiwa as sophomores who all played a ton last year, Neela has more foundation around her to be successful, so she doesn't have to do it all. So when you add the freshmen into that mix, it's just really exciting to think about what we can accomplish. We don't know what this year is going to hold. We certainly want to control the controllables. I know coaches say that, it's cliche, but this year is going to be about being flexible and controlling what we can and just trying to have a lot of fun.
Well, we're excited to see your team on the floor, and we're excited that you were part of the show tonight. Yes. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
That's it. Episode 1 of Raise High at GW is in the books. We're excited to be bringing this with you all season long here as men's basketball and women's basketball are set to get going once again here in Foggy Bottom. For Jen Rizzotti and for Jamion Christian, I'm Kevin Burke. Stay well, stay safe, and raise high.